Hi everyone, and welcome back to the 2014 Core 77 Design Awards. I'm Sarah Spear, and I'm the Program Manager here in New York City. And we're here to announce the Interaction Design honorees. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to the team who are actually live in California.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us today. We're here in Santa Monica. I'm Aaron Siegel. I'm head of interaction and online experience at Fabrica, based in Treviso, Italy, which is why you probably saw that on the schedule. I'm joined here with Damon Seeley, who's a co-founder of Electroland.
Hi everybody.
Christine Outram, who's director at City Innovation Group, and I think I'm forgetting another title of yours.
Oh, no problem. Director of Invention at Deutschland as well.
That's a good one. You can't forget Director of Invention. So we have a fourth jury member who couldn't join us tonight. That's Dan Goods, who's the founder of Directed Play and also visual strategist at NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory. I wanted to just walk you through first kind of our scoring process and how we came to the conclusions that we came to regarding the different projects that were submitted. We felt that it was very important to get to a short list right away so that we'd be able to spend most of our deliberation time in person together looking at the most important projects. So what we did is we put together a spreadsheet so that we could begin a very simple scoring system where we could rank each of the submissions based on its intention, its interaction mechanisms, the execution of the work, and the presentation products that were put together for it. In addition to that, there is kind of a gut assessment that goes towards that as well. So for each of these, there can be a score of up to 10, and then that gives each submission a score between 0 and 50 from each juror. What we do with that is we're able to put all of the scores together and then come up with a short list based on who has the highest overall scores for both student and professional categories. So we're going to start with going over the student entries. We'll start by announcing some of the notables, and then the runners-up, and then eventually the winner. So the first student notable entry is Mowgli by Peter Bugzowski of the University of the Arts Bremen in Bremen, Germany. Mowgli is a social network for short-distance communication. Messages are posted in groups or packs and are limited in their spatial and temporal appearance. The packs act like filters to group messages within the same topic. Starting from the location of the sender, messages are available in a radius of 100 meters, an area which relates to the user in the digital and also in the physical world. When the information flow stops, messages are deleted forever. This idea is based on the behavior of wolves in nature and how they communicate. So we found this project was really interesting. I personally thought that the kind of temporal nature of these messages that kind of disappear when they're no longer relevant was very interesting, as well as the kind of site-specific qualities of that interaction itself.
Okay, so next up in the notable entry for the student division is The Haptic Drive by Miha Feas of the Umeå Institute of Design in Umeå, Sweden. The aim of this project was to make driving a safer experience while embracing flexibility of touchscreens and expanding upon it. This concept allows the driver to operate the most common functions in the car without having to look at the screen. These specific kinds of haptic feedback were chosen to mimic physical properties of the settings that they represent. This way, the driver is able to operate the functions without having to learn them first. So in our review, we found that this project took on a really huge problem that we've all experienced in cars with that's increasing today with the number of glass screens and glass cockpits that are being deployed. We really appreciated the designer's use of multiple sensors, touch, air, temperature, and sound. But beyond just the integration of lots of sensors, they demonstrated a very high level of thinking about the problem. We believe that some of the design solutions are really well thought out, even if the execution was at a prototype level. Most of all, we were struck that this person took on a really huge problem and was able to significantly address some components of the problem, even at the student level. We thought it was a really outstanding effort.
Great. So third notable in the student category is iDNA This is Spatial Storytelling by Sylviane Joly and Amélie Tabolet of HEAD in Geneva and Apple Lab in Geneva, Switzerland. So what IDNA is all about, it's the first animation film deployed on our spatial storytelling system for tablets. So it's a tablet-based storytelling system. Pretty much each scene is designed on 360 degrees so that you can explore it whenever you want through the story. It's done simply by turning the tablet around you. And the story then has branches, which according to the user's focus, they can then focus in on certain angles or characters, and the film may take a different path. The idea is to bring the viewer to follow the story according to its sensitivity and its effects to a particular character or a particular event. So we thought this project was a really clever way of navigating stories, and it makes it feel like the story is being brought to life into your space. So it does a good job of combining on-screen as well as very physical properties in our environment. It offers the user the chance to radically change the nature of their story based on where they are in time and place. And even though it's not just a storytelling medium for the everyday, it can be a storytelling medium that requires wonderful and engaging visual stories, and we thought there was lots of potential for kind of experiential events.
Our fourth student notable entry is Angle by Joachim Bergbaum, Thijs Mauk, Julia Naxa, and Jeden Kjan of Umeå Institute of Design in Umeå, Sweden. Angle is an interactive wearable device which provides an enhanced exercise experience. It creates real-time sound feedback to help recreational athletes prevent injuries and maintain proper training intensity. The device increases the user's awareness of their posture and tempo through melodic soundscapes. We thought this was really interesting because the design of the object and interaction solves a very real problem, and it looks like it has the beginnings of a novel and pleasant and effective interface. It clearly acknowledges that anything like this has to look good, and even if it is not fashion, it must have that kind of athleisure appeal. Going into the runners-up in the student category.
Okay, so our first student runner-up is Loop, Directional Haptic Feedback Accessory by Catherine McElroy and Joseph Weisgold in the School of Visual Arts in New York City, New York. Loop is a directional haptic feedback accessory in the form of an adjustable armband. It has vibration points that guide the user left and right through rotating pulses. Loop pairs with a smartphone app that uses GPS and Bluetooth technology in order to network with other Loop users in a certain range. It can also connect with Google Maps and has an open API that allows the development of new uses. Through the use of the technology, Loop offers directional animal instincts while providing a screenless interaction, so the users can look up at their environment instead of down at their phones. Well, that last sentence in the description is one of the main things that we keyed in on, and the jury found, several of us remarked that this is something that we could imagine using ourselves immediately, and so it had great traction with all of us. We were impressed with the immediately clear usefulness of it, and recognized that it has a wide range of applications. The jury also found that this could be deployed fairly quickly as a real product.
So next runner-up is Tink by Megan Chow, Alfredo Sanders, and Kunal Chawla of Stanford University in Stanford, California. So pretty much Tink is a toolkit. It allows kids to engage with familiar objects in new ways. The kit includes 6 sensors: light, sound, tilt, vibration, motion, and temperature, 6 plugs, and an iPad application that connects the sensors with the plugs. Using Tink, kids can control items in their environments using sensory input, such as if Dad comes home, let's surprise him with his favorite song, or if someone opens my diary, scare them with a sound. So we love that it uses ambient data. You know, we've seen a lot of things that help kids code, but what impressed us with this is that it didn't require any physical or electronic connections besides an endpoint to be usable. It's made to be implemented into your own environment, so something you can play with in your own house, with your own devices and own objects around you, rather than needing discrete actuators that are designed for the system. And in all, I think we just found it really simple and approachable for a wide range of ages. And we could see it really being used by young people and also being interacted with by parents as well and having a lot of fun. So it's a great soft introduction to procedural thinking for kids, just to sum up.
So coming to our winner in the student category for interaction, we have Inform, a dynamic shape display by the Tangible Media Group at MIT Media Lab in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Inform is a dynamic shape display that can render 3D content physically, so users can interact with digital information in a tangible way. Inform can also interact with the physical world around it, for example, moving objects on the table's surface. Remote participants in a video conference can be displayed physically, allowing for a strong sense of presence and the ability to interact physically at a distance. We thought this was really impressive because it's an extremely tight coupling of input and output in a tactile and three-dimensional resolution, creating a brand new interface for experimentation. The integration of telepresent characteristics helps bridge the virtual divide with the additional fidelity of experience through haptic feedback. While we would love to see this scale up, we thought that even this prototype demonstration was extremely compelling, and the fact that it got us talking for a lengthy amount of time about its different applications in the world very much pointed to its worthiness.
And if I could just add to that also, we found with this entry that not only was it a really compelling technology and interaction device scenario, but it was also presented in both a practical and a poetic way that we found very compelling, an extremely well-rounded entry.
So moving on to professional category. Beginning, we have our notable entries for professional. Our first notable entry is Sonosite Export by the Sonosite Experience Design Team in Bothell, Washington, USA for Sonosite. Export is a radical new all-touchscreen ultrasound system that brings design thinking to medical devices and tackles emerging healthcare problems. We thought the Sonosite Export was really interesting because it's a product that's been re-engineered from the ground up, allowing the designers to rethink the prerequisites for medical imaging equipment and an intelligent reprioritization of the cognitive load of the operator. Despite the fact that this is complex equipment, the design makes it intuitive even for those who are not trained.
Okay, the next notable entry for the professional division is the Eventbrite Reserved Seating System, Seat Designer by the Eventbrite Registration and Ticketing Team in San Francisco. Seat Designer is a rich, interactive, web-based seat map and ticket creation management tool. It enables Eventbrite organizers to design and manage their own seat maps, set a selling order, create and assign tickets for any reserved seating events that they host. The project aims to open up and disrupt the reserved seating event market by enabling organizers to take control of their own seated events. So we were very impressed that the Eventbrite team was able to take what is a huge and entropic problem and effectively solve it through great design and user experience design. The team took into consideration all of the different types of events and seating arrangements, and the software we found extremely flexible while still continuing to be simple and effective.
So congratulations to the next notable in the professional category. It's the binoculars by Telart and Google Creative Lab in Providence, Rhode Island, USA for the Sydney Opera House. So the Sydney Opera House is probably one of the most recognizable structures on the planet. And what this project did was celebrated the Opera House's 40th birthday by bringing the world's most amazing destinations to Sydney. So a modified version of the classic tower optical coin-operated binoculars, I'm sure you've all seen those. It was an installation, and it used rotation and tilt of the binocular head to navigate high-resolution 360-degree scenes of other famous landmarks via Google Street View. So we love this kind of fun way that binoculars subverts what is already an iconic landmark in Sydney and forces us to think about which other public buildings and natural wonders we hold up as examples around the world. It played with nostalgia of a viewfinder, but it combined that with a very well-known serial urban object and observation deck binoculars. And it used those familiar interaction mechanisms to put the Opera House in the context of other great places by showing rather than telling. All in all, great job.
So moving on to our runners-up in the professional category. Our first runner-up is 100 Years of Design by Second Story in Portland, Oregon for AIGA. A microsite launched in celebration of AIGA's centennial 100 Years of Design focuses on the intersections between design and society. Exemplary works from the organization's digital archives, significant moments from its history, insightful interviews with living masters, and memorable quotes from leading designers are woven into narratives to present how design informs, connects, delights, influences, and assists the communities it serves. The experience also encourages visitors to join a conversation about the role design plays in our daily lives. They are invited to share their favorite works and describe what they mean to them. The jury thought that the project seamlessly mixed video, motion, and graphic design components very successfully, creating a beautifully executed experience on both desktop and mobile platforms. The clean navigation makes experiencing the narrative effortless and achieves a product that tells a story concisely.
Okay, so is this our first runner-up?
This is our second runner-up.
Second runner-up. Okay, so second runner-up in the professional category. Can you?
Sorry.
That's all right. Thanks. Is Maker Shaker by Pentagram, the MIT Sensible Lab in New York, and the MIT Sensible City Lab in collaboration with the Coca-Cola Company and Bacardi Rum. Maker Shaker is an installation that uses robotic barmen to mix drinks in approximately 1 Google different crowdsourced combinations. Oh, I see what they did there. The installation explores the dynamics of social co-creation and digital manufacturing. Users download the app on their handheld devices and mix selected ingredients as their own virtual barman. Then watch as the cocktails are crafted by 3 KUKA robots and delivered via conveyor belt. So we found that this is an exceptionally well-executed project that was captivating. That was a captivating addition to an important event. And while robots replicating human behavior is nothing new, the fact that it includes us in part of the process, this cocktail making process, thereby subverting our idolization of bartenders and their bespoke cocktails, helps us ask the question: what happens when we all become makers of anything and everything in this world? Well done.
Which brings us to the winner of our professional category. So the winner this year is Sadly by Your Side by Angelo Samarero and Davide Cairo in Milano, Italy for Fabrica. Sadly by Your Side is an 8-song album, a book, and a synesthetic iOS app, a processing and remixing tool where each song can be endlessly transformed depending on the images you focus on with your camera. The iPhone is used as a window to the external world, and it's a world that alters the perception of the album itself. So the jury thought that this project in particular captivated us both visually and emotionally. We were all really drawn to it. It explored an interaction paradigm that was new to most people, so in that way it was breaking new ground. And it bridged a number of disciplines and mediums while also thinking about rethinking how we experience music. It causes the user to become a part of the composition process, which was fascinating. It has a very strong execution across the board, both conceptually and practically, and the vision is carried through every aspect of the project, despite the fact that it really does cover so many mediums. We downloaded this app, we played with it, and all in all, it was fantastic. So well done.
Outstanding work.
So I think on behalf of everyone here, I'd like to say we've been really impressed with the quality of entries that came in. We were really impressed with the diversity of all the entries that came in. The type of work ranged from the very scientific to the very playful kind of art installations. We're very happy to see this kind of range of work, and we hope that everybody who didn't apply this year will apply next year, because we think it's a great opportunity, and we'd love to see more of it as part of our community. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah. Hi. Thank you so much. Yeah, it looks like we had so much great work here in the interaction category this year. So thanks so much to the team for getting together, finding the time to meet and sift through everything and pick such a great group of honorees. And yeah, so thank you to everyone who entered. We want to see your work again next year. Keep entering those projects because it looks like everything was pretty strong. And one final thank you to our presenting sponsor, Intuit, for helping to make these live announcements possible. And thanks to you again for tuning in. We have plenty more announcements to come this week, so we hope to see you again at one of our future announcements. Have a good night.